Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Square Circle Podcast. It's me, your host, Marie Shadows. I'm here with my bestie, my co-host for MLW. This time we're doing MLW Symphony of Horrors that happened on October 25th, 2025. And it is Dos Evo. Dos Evo, how are you doing?
What's going on? I'm doing okay. Putting the square into the circle. I like symphony. I like horror. So, hey, it all works.
Yeah. Uh Overall, I will say that I felt lukewarm about the show. And I will comment on like consistency because every time that we talk about MLW, we're always like, hey, just be consistent. Just be consistent. And I like that there was a little bit of a consistency here and stuff. So we open up with Jesus Rodriguez introducing Caesar and Selena, and they obviously get the crowd hyped up. They're still in California, they're still in Long Beach. So they talk about like all the super luchas and everything like that. So they get the crowd hyped up. I don't remember too much of what Caesar has said, unless you remember what he
Yeah,
said. But it was just a
he literally just type stuff and, LA, do you choose violence? Yeah, ring the bell, that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And
But
then a
then
Don Gatto plug.
yeah, because that's their sponsor and stuff.
Mhm.
And then we get a little mini backstage video of Caesar and Selena talking. That Matt Riddle comes in and to spoil the little party, and he's like, "I want a shot because I defeated everybody on the roster." And he takes a shot at Brock Lesnar because he tries to compare the booking of Brock Lesnar to the booking of Caesar. And I was so confused with that, like with that jab. I was like, "What?" But then to round it out, Selena had to bring in Matt Riddle's OnlyFans and whatnot to give him that jab. But did you understand the Brock Lesnar reference?
No, because it wasn't a full thought. I mean, he said your booking is as bad as Brock Lesnar, which I don't really know what that means. Is it the booking of Brock Lesnar? Is it that every time there seems to be an emergency, the WWE breaks glass and calls in Brock Lesnar, and there's no follow up to it. I mean, it could have been a lot of things. Do you just want to insult Brock Lesnar because he's still on this I can beat anybody up in real life thing, and he's picking the one guy that he probably can't really beat up in real life? I, I don't know, but I did like Selena talking about his money and his nasty OnlyFans. So that made it all worthwhile. And Riddle just making sure to do the rude dude. But I mean, the only part of that line that made sense is that he knows it's going to get clipped and get attention throughout the IWC, which MLW still could use some of that. So it made sense to that extent. But beyond that, I don't speak Matt Riddle fluently, so
I don't speak Matt Riddle fluently. That is fantastic. That's a fantastic line.
thank you.
um, it is what it is. Eventually, I'll just be like, "Yo, Matt, like, what did you mean by this Brock Lesnar fucking jab? Like, what? Imagine if like Brock Lesnar did ever go to MLW just to have a match with Riddle, like a one off. Like that would be money."
Well, not for MLW because Brock Lesnar, like I think, demands like $10 million just to show up. Uh, but yeah, it. I mean, listen. At this point, I would love to see the two of them actually fight for real in an octagon or whatever. They could be the match on the White House for all I care. I mean, that'd be interesting. Riddle's got the youth. Brock Lesnar's got everything else. So we'll see. Or we
Yeah,
probably won't, but
we could dream. We could
we
dream
could dream.
about
We're
it.
still allowed to dream. Yes.
Yeah. So then we open up with a triple threat for the National Openweight Championship title, which had Atlantis, Rugito, Blue Panther. Um, I was like, oh my god. I put mid fast opening for the match because they were trying to go that fast luchador pace, and I had to like rewind it just to be like, what am I writing for this? What kind of notes am I taking for this match? We
What do
had
you
like
read?
cross bodies. What happened?
What indeed? I mean, what are you going to write? I have a question for you before we get into it,
Yes,
because I know that Blue Demon Jr. won the MLW Openweight Championship, or Blue Panther Jr. rather, the
Blue
one with the
Panther.
muscle.
Yeah,
And Blue Panther walked in with the Openweight champion. So are they like doing the Freebird rule by Blue Panthers holding this thing, or was the title somehow lost to a heel and then face Grandpa Blue Panther won the title, or what? Because I mean, I follow MLW on the X. I follow them
yeah.
on Facebook. I mean, every other post I see on Facebook is from MLW. Well, that's not every third I see is from MLW, and the other third I see is from NWA, and the remaining 33% is everything else in the universe of Facebook
Hmm.
that I might see. And I have not seen that. Um, so do you think it's like, did I miss something that you catch? Or like, I would not confuse Blue Panther Jr. with Blue Panther. Like, one has big muscles and is young, and the other one, I mean,
Okay.
pretty badass for
Well,
an old guy, but
yeah. See, when I watched it, that's why I think I also rewinded back too, because I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't look like Grandpa here with the title that like we saw like 2 weeks ago and whatnot. And even I was questioning it. I was like, this really doesn't look like Grandpa. Grandpa would take off the mask as well. I don't think he wrestled in the mask, and you could tell. But um Grandpa, Blue Panther Grandpa does have hairy forearms. So I guess it's kind of like, maybe some type of effect is taking over that like you think it is, but you don't think it is, but you think it is at the same time. So I was confused as hell. However, I do know that the National Openweight Championship title changed between so many guys that I was just like, I can't keep up. But like, it's a history of, I think a heel probably held it to another heel. I'm using air quotes for everyone that's listening on the audio. Went to another heel, went to another heel, and now Blue Panther is like maybe the neutral grandpa that's holding it. But yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, I don't know if this is the same guy.
I just felt poor Rojito, because, like, obviously I'm now
Oh yeah.
Team Rojito, and also
Hmm.
my wife told me that Rojito, it means nothing about wolf or red or anything like that. It means, well, she said it roar, so I don't know if it means roar or if it means growl, but it means, but whatever it is, that's his wrestling name. His wrestling name is just a noise like roar, and so any of his masks all of a sudden make sense, and that's just such a
Hmm.
beautiful mess as far as I'm concerned. And I'm
It
just like,
is.
poor Mojito and poor Magnus, because they're just there to lose.
Yeah. But it was the battle of like three big guys that have muscle. And it was it was slow. Like we had some good stuff. I you know what? I'll mention this on the podcast, but if you guys are going to call it in the ring, make sure that like, it's not so noticeable. I was even like, bro, why are you telling him what to do next? Like at least try to make it look like you're going to
I'll
team
tell you
up to
why.
take Blue
Because two of those
Panther.
guys are 70 years old. They can't hear.
The crowd wasn't that loud, they could hear.
It doesn't matter. They're 70. They can't hear. They've been falling on their heads for 6 decades now. It's like they got cauliflower ears. Their heads are probably constantly ringing. It's like Atlantis and Blue Panther apparently like rivals forever. It's like,
Yeah.
when the commentator tried to compare them to Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes, I'm like, oh, come. I mean, as soon as I heard that, I chuckled in the wrong way.
We get it that like sometimes to try to create a connection with people that are watching at home, because obviously the fans there are not going to hear the commentators, but to make a connection with the fans at home, you usually compare it to like something else. But it doesn't always have to be that way. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be that way. Um
There were a bunch of
Aside from
kids
all
though there
what?
with Blue Panther masks on, so clearly very has his fan
Yeah.
base, and into like, like this was like 5 or 6 year old kids. So so I can't explain it.
No, it's magic. Like,
Yeah.
that's why sometimes when people watch Lucha Libre, like sometimes they may not understand the magic, but those that are like really knee deep into the culture, into everything, like understand like that magic and buy the mask, and then like have Blue Panther Jr. versus Atlantis for Infinity. It's one of those things. Um,
Fight
so
forever.
yeah, yeah, always. So in Blue Panther retains, and he retains due to an armbar that he put on Riddle, and Riddle taps.
Of course.
I have a yeah, I have a yeah, a big plancha to Atlantis and Riddle, and then like the roll through, and then somehow Blue Panther gets the armbar, and Blue Panther retains the national openweight championship title for MLW. I have no idea who he's going to drop it to.
I don't know. This match was obviously not for me. I mean, I'm not interested in the old guys. I'm all pro Rojito. I was confused about who holds the title and how I could possibly miss at least 2 title changes, let alone one. So, I don't know what to say, but I who he could drop it to? I suppose anybody. I don't know if he just gives it back
Yeah.
to his nephew or student or whatever, and they go back to pretending whichever one of them is the champion. But there is like a little experiment going on here in my mind anyway, and I don't know if you noticed this. I mean, I'm sure you know as part of it. I don't know if you tied the two together like I did, because I'm my own kind of crazy, but CMLL is working with MLW and with AEW. And I'm sure with AEW, they get more money. I'm sure AEW pays, the wrestlers like, 7 times more than they get, for other shows in America, and probably, which is 20 times what they get in Mexico and all of that good stuff. So they're getting money, and I'm sure CMLL gets whatever it is. I think 15% is normally what the promotion gets for that kind of thing. But they're getting no prominence. They're getting very few AEW people on their shows. They're getting some. It's not entirely none. On MLW, I'm sure they're getting their regular ask, maybe even the sharing, but they're getting titles. So there's a real life experiment as to being treated with respect and titles and prominence and sort of prestige on your partner's television show versus getting the money, and which one wins out in the end. And of course, me being the cynic is going to assume it's always money, because it's always money. But for once, I want to be like the typical wrestling Mark fan and hope that it's the prestige, because MLW is my home team, and AEW is a team that I abandoned 2 calendar years ago.
Yeah, I totally get that. Normally, my mind would definitely agree with you that it'll be for the money, because obviously we need money. But my heart, and as a wrestling fan and someone that loves the business, will tell you that it's more better for the prestige of like getting the titles, getting the respect, having the fans, love you and buy the merchandise and stuff like that. So if you want to be the cynical person to be like it's money, I'll be the mark and the fan to tell you that it is the recognition of this. But you do bring up a good point, because the MLW champions are from CMML, and also don't forget that CMML also works with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Because when we get to Templario is currently over in Japan doing Best of the Super Juniors with his tag team partner Super J Austin of the of a dying United Empire, because United Empire is dying, like I've said it before on my other podcast. But yeah, so CMML wrestlers are getting a bigger recognition that feels really, really good. The way that they are introduced into MLW and the feuds that have been happening and mixing with the MLW roster has been a very, very good thing. But yeah, I just didn't, I didn't really think about it that way, that like there's so many partnerships going on. It's just that, of course, AEW just ruins other partnerships. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy with the partnership of MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and CMML, because it just brings everybody together. It feels kind of cool and different. So yeah. Yeah, never thought about that until like now.
Well, I wonder if any of your listeners do, and some of your supporters and your people. I know that your show goes on various channels, and you get comments and whatever. And if they've thought about this, to let us know what your thoughts are. If you hadn't thought about it before, and now you are, what's your first impressions? And then after you let it marinate a little bit, so what do you think? And I don't know. I know Marie loves to have a community and have conversations. So there's a topic.
Yeah, pretty much. Definitely talking about partnerships. The only thing that I do is say that the AEW and New Japan partnership needs to end. That's all I say.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, who could have seen that coming in advance? I mean, pretty much anybody with the brain, but who could see it? I mean, who can't see it now? I mean, you have to not want to see it. There's nobody left in New Japan that has any sort of name except for Tanahashi. I mean, and listen, nobody's perfect. I mean, I posted a few weeks ago that at this point, the only retirement match that makes sense for Cena is Tanahashi, because who gives a shit?
Yeah.
This run is sort of shit. So at least that would be historic and interesting and unexpected. It won't be.
Yeah.
But Tanahashi's I mean, I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure Naito and there's other people have some cachet, but people who have been like shelved and forgotten about in AEW, like Jay White and Gabe Kidd, were their stars. I mean, Juice. I have to think of his name, Juice Robinson. I mean, forget about Omega and the Bucks and all of those guys. And I mean, I get that Takeshita's now being shared and is in a position of prominence. Probably a little bit too little, too late. Anyway, you talk about New Japan on your other show, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I guess speaking of, well, I don't know how to transition into this, but I was going to be like, speaking of groups, because some groups are not on the shelf in MLW, aka Contra. I guess that's a better way to get back into this. I guess, I don't know, because if you guys don't know, I guess it's not spoiler alert, but if you're not subscribed and or listening to the Garden of Thought, Dose Evil here is co-host with Mr. Thomas, and they do a wonderful, wonderful podcast. Are you friends, buddy with Mads Krüger now?
We're working on it. I don't know that we're friends, buddy, but he has agreed to. Actually, he seemed to be enthusiastic about it. And you can all listen to yourself because it happened on the air. I mean, in real time. The show's obviously not live; it's recorded, but nothing's edited out. To come on the regular Garden of Thought, not the Gospel of Thomas brand where we talk to wrestlers, and review Alien Earth, which is a show that I love. I famously hate most things, and I'm very picky, and he loves it. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so excited to talk about it. Will you come on Garden of Thought too? He's like, I'd love to talk about anything other than wrestling. Sure. I'm like, terrific. So yeah, we're working on becoming friends. I mean, this is what I do. I don't have any friends in real life, so I have to extend my cyber friendship world, So and so that's that. You'd think with all of this it'd be easier to get the wrestlers book, but it's getting ever harder actually, which is a little bit strange to me. I mean, I guess there's people who don't realize how wonderful it is to be friends with me.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. It has everything to do with all the influencers that are like, hey, can you scratch my back and I'll never scratch your back? Like all those people that we know that end up being like, hey, I'm a huge fan. Like let me get an interview to boost my name, but then fuck you over and not doing shit for you. I don't care. I don't care if people get upset at that. Like there's a lot of influencers that are toxic in the space.
But Contra Unit is definitely going through a transition, which is, I think, the purpose of the segue. And Mr. reigning MLW champion confirmed that. Now he wouldn't actually confirm much, but he mentioned that he thinks I was hitting a bunch of the right notes.
Okay. I mean that's more than awesome. Hitting the right notes.
We also broke a little news on that, but I'm not gonna give it away here because I want people to have to listen to the show because they just might listen to other shows too.
Yeah, so tune into the Garden of Thought. I know I have that coming up on my to listen list. uh, but on the MLW show, I put Cruel here, even though that's where he goes by on Twitter. But Mads Krüger ends up talking about Dijak because they have been constantly fighting. He calls, obviously the skyscrapers, and Tower of Egos, which I was like, that's a cool line. And it's all about the titles. Even though they're gonna get more gold, like Contra's gonna get more gold. And he used retribution and stuff like that. The whole development of Krüger has been really, really like good and solid. He definitely was patient this whole entire time just to become champion. I do like when he interacts with Dijak and Bishop Dyer and Alex Hammerstone and like Matt Riddle and everybody. So he has been a really good fighting champion that can't really be contained or controlled. I really do wish that there could be something solid with Contra again, because then that makes that group really good and we can get like another group going rather than just having what feels like um Kwon and Krüger. And I don't know who else is in this.
Right, and not really even interacting with each other, but it's very interesting what's happening with and he doesn't mind being called cruel in this context either.
Okay.
I mean, it's more of a court thing. Mads Krüger is sort of his invention, so he likes it, which that's fine too. So call him Mads Krüger for the purpose of an MLW review. But yeah, the audience is very much turning Mads Krüger somehow the monster, the undead, sort of the Jason Voorhees Undertaker, cognate, into a face. And in this regard, it's a bit confounding for wrestling. But if you want to say that wrestling should be more like real life, there's like 6 or 7 guys all going for the title. And like, a bunch of them are heels. Some of them are sort of faces. It's not even really clear. I mean, Brock Anderson insinuated himself into this, and he had good reason to do so. Riddle is still there. Hammerstone is still there. Dijak and Bishop Dyer are there. And and who knows who else is involved in the mix. But there's I mean, Don Gatto hasn't stated his intentions yet, so. So I really want to know who that guy is. I mean, I keep looking at his eyes and I'm like, and I finally figured out after all this time who his eyes remind me of, and it's Mark Merrow, who is absolutely not Don Gatto.
Oh my god!
Well, Mark Merrow just got engaged, and he's like, Mark Merrow does he's like a motivational speaker, ministry kind of charitable work things. He's like all over the place. So he's definitely not Don. Well, I shouldn't say definitely. He's almost definitely not Don Gatto. But that would be awesome. Anyway, yeah, a lot of things circling around Madswell Cruel Atrocity Krüger. And we still do get the Contra emblem coming up as if they're sort of taking over and still in the background. But I don't know. We don't really see them so much as a unit.
Yeah. I wish that Murder Grandpa can still be part of the group, man. Just so I could just watch Murder Grandpa matches and be around him again. That was pretty fun. Right after that, we had a lightly match, which is a gimmick match, 10 minutes time limit, that had Shotzi versus Brittany Brooks. I wasn't expecting them to give Shotzi a lightning match, so I was sort of like, oh, okay. Brittany Brooks is indie darling, I should say. Had many matches on the indies, wrestled probably like all over the world. It was an okay match. We started off with some quick pins, some quick stuff, just very like false finishes and all that kind of stuff. But I understand that this is their first meeting together in this match. I wish that they could have rehearsed a little bit earlier, but then again, I don't know any like backstage details if it was like maybe a last minute thing for Brittany to come in just to have a match with Shotzi so Shotzi could get warmed up before her Priscilla Kelly match next month. But like, ladies, I know you guys could do it better. There was like a lot of misdirection in the ring. I do have like notes, but I have like, a DDT, the bulldog that got like set up twice, the suplexes, the jumpy knees. However, Shotzi does go up to the top rope, or at least the second rope, for the huge senton that she hits. 1, 2, 3, picks up the win over Brittany Brooks, and wins the lightning match.
Yeah, Brittany Brooks. I don't. I feel like I've seen her, but I don't. I couldn't tell you exactly where. I'm sure she's worked every promotion in some regard. I mean, I think she's most famous for being Chris Bay's significant other, which is fine and dandy. Cute girl, looks athletic. She looks like she's powerful. Like she's sort of strong. She's not exactly like a fit model. She's sort of beefy, but in a muscular kind of way. But not like Jordan Grace or Jade Cargill. But yeah, the match was sloppy. It was a lightning match. I would have preferred that Shotzi had a squash in this. It only took 7.5 minutes to almost exactly for her to get the win. So that's actually is a pretty dominating win, but it felt like it took longer, and I think that's because it was sort of klutzy. A little, they like you said, they weren't very they weren't on the same page, and maybe it was a last minute throw together or whatever. But I don't know. I think the match with Ava Everett was better. She was more of a character. I mean, Brittany just seems like happy jock girl. Not that she should overshadow Shotzi, but two characters was fun. I mean, the Ava Everett stuff was fun, but Shotzi, of course, obviously needs the win. They're building with Priscilla Kelly. Yeah. I'm sure at some point one of those two is going to go after Shoto and get that title, but before Shoto has to go back to Japan. But the match was fine, but it was filler. I'm glad to see Shotzi on the card. I always like seeing Shotzi on the card. She still managed to look like she had fun, but it seemed like she had more fun when it was over and she was sort of howling at the moon than during the match itself. So
yeah, and then they show that Shotzi gets attacked by a mysterious person. With your detective skills, did you figure out who the mysterious person is?
I've narrowed it down to two obvious suspects, and that is Sami Zayn or Solo Sikoa.
Perfect.
Yes, because I recognize the costume. I mean, it was black cowl, so black hoodie. I mean, isn't that the Sami Zayn Solo Sikoa costume? So, I mean, the inference is that it's Priscilla Kelly, but it didn't really look like Priscilla Kelly's physique or build. That said, it's wrestling. It doesn't need to be who it is until the cowl comes off. I mean, Ric Flair was famously the Black Scorpion and absolutely wasn't the Black Scorpion, but up until that point. But I don't know. Maybe it is somebody else. That would be sort of neat if it was somebody else. Maybe it was Scarlett. Maybe Scarlett and Priscilla both turned against Shotzi as former friends. But it didn't really look
I didn't think about that.
It didn't really look like Scarlett either. For both those ladies, let's just say she looked too thin-topped to be either of those ladies.
That's true too. But I didn't think about that. It could be a possibility of like, hey, do you want to do something early by attacking Shotzi and then be the later reveal? Like I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I don't know what the schedule was or whatever, but I don't know. They're pretty in demand, Cross and Scarlett, and they're doing some stuff together, but doing some stuff apart as well. But they're in Vegas, so it is just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll find out. But Shotzi looking for who it was and assuming it was Priscilla Kelly tells us it probably wasn't Priscilla Kelly, but that scene with Shotzi just trying to go through locked doors, open doors, looking for her attacker.
Yeah.
That was more interesting than the match.
And then after that, we have a promo by the Good Brothers for their Talking Shop podcast. And basically they want MLW Go because they've been all over everywhere collecting tag team gold. And I think I might have said it on the MLW reviews on like sometime long ago, or it could have just been me talking on my regular episodes about like Japan and whatever, that I said that I do not want the Good Brothers like anywhere near wrestling or certain promotions, and I probably might have said that I don't want them in MLW, only because I don't know, man. Like, to me personally, the Good Brothers has run their course. I think that sometimes they do a lot of bad business decisions, especially for the sake of the company, for any goal that they get put on, and they care more about money, even though like money is a thing. I totally get that. But to put that first over the company, over the titles that they give them, I just feel like sometimes it's not a good fit per se, because I go by the philosophy in wrestling that there's no I in team. Like, everybody is a team player. Eventually you can get to a position where it could be all about you, but essentially it's everybody that makes everything run. It's everybody that puts these stories together. It's everybody that carries the championship titles, even if like you are the sole target of that championship title and you have to protect it and remain champion. But essentially it's everyone working together, and sometimes I don't think the Good Brothers do that. Now, I could be totally wrong, but that's just how the outside surface seems like, and how some of the internal stuff, if I put two and two together, that happens. But the Good Brothers are coming to MLW next month. Maybe they're gonna outright challenge the Skyscrapers for a tag team title shot, which I'm not really in favor of. But yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. That should be Magnus and Ruhido's shot, of course. I don't love the Good Brothers either. I never really saw people seeing them. I don't really feel like there's a lot of chemistry between them. I mean, obviously they like each other because they've been working almost exclusively with each other as a tag team for, it's got to be a decade, maybe more now. I mean, it was sort of a little bit strange that Doc Gallows said something about, yeah, you two giants, but didn't bother to mention, I mean, he's every bit as much a giant as they are. So I say, but we got a giant too. I did like how he did a toast, but he said, but not Carl because he's sober. So that was sort of good. Gallows has more of the personality than Carl Anderson does. I believe that MLW is still trying to get a TV or streaming deal. Maybe they feel like having the Good Brothers on there is, can help sell themselves to somebody that even if they don't know wrestling, they can at least Google who's on the roster and who's, signed for appearances, and they can say, oh, WWE, oh, AEW, oh, New Japan, TNA or Impact. And, it's been everywhere. Okay, that's all right. Oh, Dijak and Bishop, oh, that's Baron Corbin. So, maybe they're just trying to stockpile names to, everybody always theorized that Jericho had the Ring of Honor title because Tony was shopping around it for a TV show. And the second time he got the Ring of Honor title, the refrain was said again. And now they're saying the same thing about Mercedes with the a Ring of Honor, whatever, interim TV championship or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I honestly, if Tony wanted to get a TV deal for them, he could. He just needs to ask for what TNA is asking for. Has $10 million a year on. So I mean, he could have a TV deal tomorrow. But whatever. I don't. I'm not a big fan of theirs, but I'd rather see them, with their marquee name doing it. It also sort of tells me that eventually the Dijak and Bishop Dyer against Krüger thing will probably end and transition into more of a regular tag team feud, which is will unclutter things for my elderly brain.
Yeah. Other than that short little promo from the Good Brothers, we also get Brock Anderson giving us a promo too. And we touched on Brock Anderson's promo a little bit earlier. But this is where I wanted to focus on the consistency. Because sometimes in wrestling promotions, depending on what's going on, and if wrestling promotions are moving from like 0 to 100 with all the stories that they have to keep up, this was very consistent of like Brock saying that like, family and like CW Anderson's sacrifice to him is like very, very personal. It's family. It's all about that. And of course you connect that with them being in South Carolina, and like, you know, the Carolinas are basically Anderson territory. Connecting all of that was really, really great. And I honestly believe that this is one of Brock Anderson's uh, best promos to date, that had a really clear story, a really clear flow, connecting it with emotion and audiences, whether the audiences have already grown up from the territory days or they're like mid, well, yeah, I guess mid-age, and then, you know, younger and whatnot, and even the younger generation that could look into the territory days and realize it is Anderson country. So I really did enjoy the fact that Brock Anderson, I was about to say Brock Lesnar, Brock
Mhm.
Anderson decided to do this and really bring it home and whatnot. And yeah, later on he got his bunkhouse match because Brock Anderson is like, yo, I'm gonna have the balls to go hit Krüger with this chair. And Caesar was just like, what are you doing? And he's like, I want a match. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
The only problem with it is that Brock Anderson in his promo talked about the bunkhouse match, and then later on when we did that, Cesar made it sound not like I agree to your proposal of a bunkhouse match. He made it sound like it was his idea.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a little bit of lack of continuity there, or at least in the presentation. What I did like is that Brock Anderson said about CW that he might have made the ultimate sacrifice, which means that in Charleston, CW Anderson needs to be there. He needs to be in a wheelchair. He needs to have like one of those IV drip things with like a nurse or orderly next to him, and like gauze around his head, like, you know, so that he's still recovering and we're not sure, you know, if he's alive or dead. Now, whether he comes up and surprises or whether he's being used as a sacrificial lamb again, I don't care about any of that, but we must see that he's still recovering and quite not there, you know, and led to believe anyway that he's quite not there yet. Again, it'll be interesting to do it because if Mads Krüger is being turned by the crowd into a face, he wouldn't necessarily change the way he would approach things. He would still go out. He would still use CW as a hostage, as a human shield, as a weapon. But if he's rolling into the face roll, that would be a very heely thing to do. And we were talking last time, you know, when the slaughterhouse portion of the show, that almost everyone seems like a heel, and there seems like there's very few faces. And Brock Anderson seems like maybe he's one of the people who's being positioned as a face now. So you want to get sympathy for him, but if your champion is also being positioned as a face, you don't want him to try to kill somebody. You know, once it's the stipulation of the match. The other time it's just being, well, pun intended, cruel.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I can't wait for November 20th to see Brock Anderson in the bunkhouse match. His dad, Arn Anderson, the enforcer, is gonna be there as well. So man,
Boston
it's
Scarlet,
gonna,
the Good Brothers. I mean, Priscilla Kelly's going to be there. I mean, this is like a big time indie show. I mean, I know MLW isn't really considered an indie per se, or it's sort of exists in this like little middle realm kind of thing. But there are names up and down this, and you know, and if you've been following MLW for the last couple of years, or even AEW, you know who half of the CMLL people are too. So, you know, it's pretty cool. And for those who don't know, I mean, Mystico was Sin Cara.
yeah. Um, I don't know. My brain wanted to make a joke and say that, but you won't get Hechiseto over
No,
there at MLW.
you won't get the sorcerer. It is maybe his Finge will be back though. I mean, fingers
Yeah,
crossed
man.
for the Sphinx.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to
Yeah,
dig Volador, and I know he's coming up pretty
yeah. Yeah. But you know, now we have a Scramble 5 match. By the way, I do not like scramble matches. Way too many low level promotions use the scramble match as a pre-show, and if you get on the scramble match, yeah, don't do it if you're a wrestler. Unless like you're an MLW and they do it right and it's on like one of the main cards. But if you are on the pre-show and you do a scramble match, just say no. Try to politic your way to do something else. Don't do a scramble match because nobody remembers you on the pre-show for a scramble match. Trust me, no one does. But
the insider, the inside of Marie Shadows, the inside shadow. Look into the darkness with Marie Shadows. At least this one was for a number one contendership.
Oh, see, I didn't write that down. I didn't know what this was for. Okay,
the number one
so thank you for letting me know.
MLW Middleweight Championship, which makes the ending even more bittersweet.
Okay, that is okay. Hey, MLW, I love you guys. Can you please stop screwing over Kwon? Like, he needs to go get that belt. Okay. Well, we have Magnus, Akamura, Diego Hill, Kwon, and Stigma. I love Diego Hill. Diego Hill is good. You know, he's a good high flyer and everything. But like, spoiler alert, I'm just gonna jump to that Diego Hill ends up winning the match, and because he makes a comeback after like everything that these people do, meaning that like we had a crazy start, we had power bombs to him, you know, Akamura versus Stigma to show a little bit of their style. Magnus comes over, you know, takes out Kwon and Akamura, double arm backbreakers, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Head scissors as well. And then, like I said, Diego makes a comeback. And then there's the corkscrew that he does on Kwon in order to get the victory. And it's like, guys, I don't want to take away from our winner, Diego Hill, but if you're going to have, what was it, maybe like a 3-month total stint in a way of Kwon collecting luchador mask and being like the luchador hunter, and then that getting interrupted by freaking MJF at one point, and then having Kwon go back to the luchador hunter. Kwon needs a win. Kwon needs a belt, even though maybe the mask may serve as he might not need the belt, but he needs a belt. But yes, our winner is Diego.
For if he doesn't use them to win matches, I mean, what's the purpose? I mean, MJF uses the diamond ring. Everybody uses the foreign object to win matches. And listen, I have nothing against Diego Hill. He's a young kid. I know MLW got burned or they feel like they got burned a little bit by Kevin Knight being stolen before they even had a chance to use him. I know right now that sort of like everyone wants their Javon Evans, everyone wants their Leon Slater. Diego Hill is probably the closest thing, but he's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I have no idea if they signed him to real contract or if they signed him to Thomas is on a 5-year contract. I mean, if they sign him to a 5-year contract, what's the rush? If they sign him to a 6-month contract, I get it, but it's not like the fans are ever going to be so around him, or so invested in him. I just think because like they led us to believe that Kwon was not the one who stole the Nux, because that's who Salina De Laurentiis said. It was Akira Kwon, and I still said Dario Cesar says, no, I saw him the other time. So they sort of said it wasn't him, but it turns out it is him. Spoiler, he says so later tonight on this show. And if he's got it, why is he not using it to position himself for the win to get the number one contendership? So I don't, maybe they're building towards it. They want to give Diego a title. Maybe then Kwon, will use it. But he's got the Nooks and the Mist, golden nunchuck, not Nooks, golden brass knuckle. They're golden knuckles, not brass knuckles. And he's got Mist, and he's not winning matches. And yes, you and I are biased, but so what?
We are
biased. I mean, at least it wasn't Virus who won.
But just wait till we get there.
Okay.
So after that, we get the MLW Tag Team Championship title match. Hammerstone is on commentary, which Hammerstone does a really good job on commentary in his heel state to be like, his attitude towards the roster and whatnot, and that he could still beat everybody, and that he came there to make a statement and everything. So we had
Joe Dombrowski. John Dombrowski's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Why should I be here?" And he explains all the reasons he should, but they all make sense. He goes, "You have any other dumb questions to me?" And he's like, "I'm just," he's like, "I'm sorry."
Which to I was gonna be like, to be honest, I do remember Hammerstone getting on Twitter at one point and being like getting upset at the influencers that end up doing interviews because he finds the questions of like, who trained you, how'd you grow, like how'd you get into wrestling, what's your favorite match? Like he hates those questions, and he was like, if you ever have me, I think he was like, if you ever have him on the podcast, don't ask those questions. Ask like something else.
I don't ask
So
those
I
questions.
remember that.
I'm not interested. I mean, I used to do it too because I didn't know what to do. But that's the whole point of having another wrestler with me, so that we can skip all of that nonsense. But if I had Hammerstone, so Hammerstone, if you're listening, I know you are. First of all, we're talking about X-Men because I know that you love the X-Men. We're going to talk about all the geek shit that you like. So we're going to do that. I'm sure Thomas will ask you about diet and how do you stay lean but put on the bulk, because Thomas is all into diet and stuff like that, and about what junk food you can eat and still have abs. But yeah, no, I'm starting with X-Men 97 and then and all of that good stuff. So if you want to geek out, Hammerstone will do it. If you want to whatever it is. I also still want to figure out who won that feud between you and that family of ducks when you were working out outside during the COVID era. So my money's on the ducks. So
so yeah, Hammerstone is on commentary. We have Dijak and Bishop taking on Krüger and Riddle. Krüger and Riddle being like the most weirdest team to have, but it is what it is. They decided, I think, what happened?
Can they coexist?
Yeah, can they coexist? They kind of did. They kind of did. They fought like maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes on the outside before they rang the bell and actually had a match. And I was like, oh shit, we're gonna actually have a match. Even though they used the weapons already, and they were attacking each other, going full force on offense. And yeah, I basically put like a street fight, and Krüger started bleeding because apparently he had staples on his head, and I was like, oh my god, that's man,
Well, it was from the slaughterhouse match.
Yeah, man, wrestlers, man, they get all patched up and then they like go out there and they wrestle and they do whatever they need to do. Yeah, I have like an all-out chaos. Riddle, on the outside goes and attacks Hammerstone. And that forces a DQ. And I was like, why are we here again?
Yeah. So 3 shows in a row where you got one of your matches toss up, and it's like always involving the same folks.
Yeah. At this point, it's like a freaking sitcom going on. So we get a DQ, ladies and gentlemen. The title does not change hands at all. And then they set up a table and they choke slam. When I say they, Dijak and Bishop choke slam Krüger through the table, and Krüger just sits up as if like, oh, I eat this for breakfast every day. And I thought that was the most coolest thing in the world. The reactions and everything, like it was fantastic. But yeah.
Yeah, they did the Undertaker sit up, the straight leg sit up, and I think he put them both into a choke slam position, and they moved, they ran away. But yeah, and the crowd is cheering. He is the face in this position. It's really strange, but he's still the black glove of Contra.
Yeah. So right after that, they show a video package of Kojima accepting the Founding Father Award that MLW CEO Court Bauer gives to Kojima. I basically told Kojima congratulations on Twitter. Hopefully I get to see him in December to be like, thanks for following me on Twitter and let me fangirl about all the shit that I know about you for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Where in December is this going to be?
Most likely at the Melrose Ballroom. I mean, like that's their thing. They should be coming back here December. They should be.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be. I don't know. I don't know that you're wrong. I mean, I might consider coming back again if that's the case. I mean, that it's the hotels are expensive, but so my parents' summer in winter in Florida. So
Oh,
I'd I could stay at their place. So it's not out of the question. It becomes a lot less expensive when you don't have to pay for lodging.
Yeah.
Theoretically, anyway. All right. Well, enough about that. But yeah, no, that'll definitely be fun.
Yeah. Um, right after that, we get the MLW World Middleweight Championship title, where everybody calls Virus, but it's Virus. Guys, if there was no accent mark, and this goes to Virus, the guy who plays the character. Dude, if you're not gonna put an accent mark, I'm not gonna say Virus. It's just Virus, man. The day you put an accent mark is when I would say it as virus, but then it's just virus, taking on Templario. Which by the way, like I said, Templario is currently in Super Junior Tag League. He is in A block with Jacob Austin Young. They currently have 2 points in this Super Junior Tag League. It'll be nice if Templario can show the MLW Championship title to the New Japan crowd. I don't think he goes out with that title, but it would be nice if he could. I don't think there's nothing stopping him. There shouldn't be nothing stopping him. But yeah, it'll be nice. So we get wrestling in the first opening of the match, which is my favorite thing because wrist control. When I say you have wrist control, you control the pace of the match. But yeah, wrestling quick changes into a bridge pin combination, some counters, crucifix, kick out. Virus over here is trying to tie up Templario. Then they have the standoff, some more fast paced power slams. The drop toho, guys, please bring back the drop toho. That's one of my favorite moves in wrestling. Like Raven made it famous, but I love that shit. We got some chops and whatnot. We actually see the cop killer be done to Virus. No, from Virus to Templario, which is basically that thing that people no, it's not really a Tiger Driver. It's Tiger Driver. Because I was like, hey, Osprey and Kenny Omega did it, and everybody made a big fuss about it. But I know it as like the cop killer because of homicide. That's like the first thing I thought about.
Well, Templars are sort of cops.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, Templars are sort of cops. Yeah. Cop killer. We got that sit out, gourd buster, and then the powerbomb on the knees, which is Templario's finisher that I have no idea what he calls it. He beats Virus to retain the middleweight championship title. Now, the only thing that I find kind of weird is that even though the timing of everything, because he has New Japan stuff to fulfill and whatnot, I would just like it if he could just show it off to Japanese wrestling fans and get them involved in MLW as well, make more fans. But yeah, your thoughts?
That's true. Okay, so this was actually a good match. Virus is a good wrestler, but he doesn't look like he would be a good wrestler.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a really bad. He looks like some of those old men wrestlers, except he's a young man and he's not as thick as they are. So
yeah,
so it sort of took me out of it a little bit. I'm glad Templario won. It was a good exhibition. I wish that Templario called his finisher the vaccine because the guy's name is Virus just for this one match.
Oh my god,
funny. But yeah, no, it was a good match. And I'm just a little bit caught up on aesthetics. Templario looks good. A lot of these guys in CML sort of have like the same like Mystico, Templario, Magnus,
yeah.
Atlantis Junior. They all have like sort of the same build. It probably doesn't hurt that they've all got a Lucha mask also. So it probably you take away the face. A lot of things sort of look the same, but. I don't know. I would have preferred if Virus looked a little bit like an actual wrestler, and again, not a young man with an old man's body.
Yeah, that's definitely I agree with that. Now, the next part is that I know we touched on it a little bit, but Kwon comes in with his promo. Kwon is definitely feeling himself and like getting more comfortable to say whatever the fuck he wants to say and
Mhm.
do whatever the fuck he wants to do. And we touched on it earlier because he showed the brass knucks and he wants a rematch against Templario. He should be going after the MLW Championship title, and then he should also have a match with Dongado as well.
Of course.
But here's where I'm gonna do a little bit of what do you call it? Fantasy booking. Because as much as I love the MLW and New Japan Pro Wrestling partnership, where they allow, I guess, certain people to come over, and I guess that since Kojima is probably still New Japan, Kenta right now is having a damn good time over at Pro Wrestling Noah, being the Noah heavyweight champion over there. Why can we not send Kwon over to New Japan Pro Wrestling to fuck up the Super Junior Tag League for Templario and Jacob Austin Young of the United Empire? Why can we not send him over there? I would have been like, hey, I guess who they get the damn they I don't want to say the wrong thing because Tiger Hattori is the referee, and I know someone's going to come for me in the comments. But you know, if you have access to Sugar Bayashi, which I believe is still he's still on the board members. You have Tanahashi, you have access to him, you have access to Kojima, you have access to a lot of people. Just send Kwon over there to New Japan and follow Templario, and let's do this crossover because it is a partnership after all.
I think it'd be very cool. Kwon is very underappreciated. He's also really underrated. I mean, when people say name an underrated wrestler, he's really the person that comes to mind now. Because he really is. He can keep up with anyone. He's got that martial arts style, and he blends it in with wrestling, and he's really putting the work in. He's putting the character work in. Honestly, I don't think right now he wants to go to Japan for any amount of time because he's got like a 1-year-old, So, or even if he does want to go, I'm sure his wife doesn't want him to go because they have a 1-year-old. Maybe when the kid's like 2.5. I shouldn't speak from. Listen, I also don't know if this has anything to do with it whatsoever on any side of the equation, but I know that Japanese and Koreans don't exactly like each other very much. And I have no idea if that crosses over into wrestling promotions or anything of that nature whatsoever. And I only learned that from the Netflix show. I think it was called Revenge or something like that, with the guy Glenn from The Walking Dead was in it, and there were some other famous people. It was actually pretty good. So, I mean, I guess learning things from a TV series is probably not the greatest way to get educated, in that it may not be education at all. I recently learned to my dismay that Harold Fairhaired is actually much younger than Ragnar Lothbrok, and that Ragnar Lothbrok was a Dane. So, I mean, sometimes learning things can ruin TV shows for you, because that ruined a whole lot of Vikings. But the thing with Rollo and doing Lyon and in France, that was real. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, Kwon.
I know.
It looks like he's got a date with Destiny with Don Gatto, which is also probably not good because they're making such a big deal about the legend Don Gatto that you think he's got to win. He's going to get his nooks back and his brass knuckles back, and so I mean, it's sad and it's not sad. I mean, listen, when the Miz loses to Bad Bunny, nobody thinks it's sad for the Miz. I mean, it's like, hey, the Miz is in a place where they trust him, and it's so I guess it's the same thing. It's it's just I don't want to be too marky. But I do expect this year of giving to be reciprocated towards the second half of 2026.
Yeah. I just want good story, good
for Thomas
press headlines. What happened? Oh yeah.
And for Thomas too. Now,
speaking of Mr. Thomas,
yeah.
I just realized that like he wasn't on the show as like doing something else. I just want to make sure that like he's still good and like still in the title scene and like not forgotten. Because I was just like, oh shit, we didn't praise Mr. Thomas this time. I
Well,
was like, where is
he
he?
was in the slaughterhouse match. He was in the
Yeah,
5-way match. So, but I don't know. You're right. He didn't have a segment. He didn't have a promo. I don't know that there's a story for him right now. He is not someone to politics. He's he's I guess got 4 3/4 years left on his 5-year contract. So he's probably pretty happy. And he doesn't. I mean, I'm sure he would like to be uh, featured more prominently, but I don't think he lives and dies by it. He's got a regular job. He's got his business. He's got this, that, and the other thing. He loves doing vacations. He doesn't really take indie bookings. And if he does, it's usually for an ulterior motive, like to see a part of the country or world that he wouldn't otherwise, or for friends. The one time I saw him say he's available for a show, he said, "I'm available for shindy bookings." He didn't say indie bookings. So he's basically telling you, "Don't book me."
I
I
got
mean,
it.
what do you call a shindy? So,
Yeah.
but but also that's on Court and their group as to what they want to do, and again, right now they have all these big names, and who knows how long they'll have these big names, and I
That's
think
true.
some of it has to do with they're not going to be on YouTube forever having Dijak Bishop Dyer, Matt Riddle, Shotzi and the Good Brothers, with getting 100,000 people watching on YouTube. So they're obviously going towards something that is more cash infusion, and then at that point, then they'll figure out a real budget, and hopefully at that point, then they'll learn to prioritize the people that they have locked down. And
Mm-hmm.
Thomas knows he could be a bigger deal if he went on the indies and whatever, because he would be in demand. Even if he wasn't in demand, I mean, especially these days where half the indie wrestlers are, under 5'11" and under 185. He's 6'5", 270. I mean,
Yeah.
and he can fly around. So he knows he could be more of a wrestler, but he also wants to be able to walk when he's 55.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. But yeah, that's just my fantasy booking of like if you have the New Japan partnership, why not try to create some more story and get good press? Hopefully it happens.
Thomas probably would go to New Japan. I know that's like a big thing on his list, that he would love it if they would call him. And listen, I of course would love my best friend to get more prominence in the wrestling world. That could only help me. Of course, I'm not his best friend. He's just my best friend.
And now we come to the Opera Cup of 2025. We have 2 semifinal matches to get through, and then we'll wrap things up. The first one was Volador Jr. versus Kojima. What the fuck was this match? Because
what was Okamura doing?
oh my god, dude, I don't know what he was doing, but I honestly do love Volador matches. Like I love the way that he wrestles. I love the psychology and whatnot. And I also appreciate the way that Kojima also has his matches as well. But for the past 2 times, the bigger guy with my air quotes, including I'm including Bishop Dyer in this, basically took advantage of Kojima in a very really bad way, where it felt like a squash match, but it felt like your buddies Magnus and Rohio was just like, we're gonna do shenanigans the whole entire time on the sidelines.
Right.
And
This was 3-on-1, but it wasn't. Okamura
yeah,
was there and was doing nothing except occasionally saying, "Hey ref, look, they're beating." It's like, move, go over. You're 60 years old. You know how this game is played.
Yeah, I was wondering too. I was like, why does he keep doing this? Like, why is there still interference? I kept thinking about like, House of Torture shenanigans from like New
That's
Japan
what I
Pro Wrestling.
texted
I
you.
was like,
I
yeah,
texted you because we don't live together. We didn't watch it together. I texted you, I go, how useless was Okamura? And you're like, I haven't watched it yet. And then you text me back a little bit later, and you're like, he was so useless.
yeah, and usually he isn't. And but then again, I don't know what happened. I don't know if
Like
he
Lana would have
forgot.
been more useful.
Yeah, like so usually I
Harvey
like I said,
Whippleman
and
would have done more.
um Man, I really do like Volador Jr. as a wrestler, and I like Kojima. But this whole entire thing was interference.
Constantly.
Um,
And like and
some
like pulling his balls into the ring post for interference.
yeah. And some offenses, not too much. Uh, did I? Kojima tries to get in his machine gun chops. Um, Oh yeah, the referee gets dragged out, right? Kojima does the lariat to Volador. There's no ref to count, to count to 1, 2, 3, because the lariat is like the be all end all. But then
Right.
the referee comes back, Volador kicks out, low blow into the backcracker, and then Volador pins Kojima 1, 2, 3, and Volador advances to the finals of the Opera Cup. Who was the producer of this match? Like, I would have been like, what are we doing? This would have been the perfect time to showcase both of their great abilities, even with the interference.
Well, they're protecting Kojima, but it's very interesting because this, again, if you looked at the brackets, you would have thought Kojima and Austin Aries would be the most MLW finals, because
Yeah.
Tom Lawler isn't healthy. You would think that would be like and you have Volador, and I'm like I said, I'm last time we spoke, we both dug with Volador doing the first time we covered a show with him. We're like, I'm not sure about this guy. Whatever, he's wearing a T-shirt. This is weird. And now he comes out with his cronies, and his cronies were healing up. So I actually didn't mind it. I mean, I think Okamura looked like a jabroni. I mean, beyond useless. I mean, there's two of them. They could have double super kicked him or something, or at least to explain why he couldn't do anything. But yeah, Kojima's going to need he's going to have to put that ice between some white bread and ice those balls for a while, because he was definitely nut cracked into loss. But again, the Opera Cup one bracket is a CMLL person so far, and we've got another bracket to go. And again, keep what we talked about, the head of the show is prominence. We're getting prominence, and so yeah, you protect your legend Kojima, but this was, I mean, all wrestling is conscious, but this there was a lot of thought put into why this was going to happen.
Yeah. So then we sort of cut to what we touched on earlier about like the big ass fight that kept going between Krüger, Dijak, and Bishop, and all of them fighting, and here comes Brock to hit Krüger, and then Brock ends up getting his bunkhouse match will be next month in South Carolina. And then we get the Paul Walter Hauser and Paul London segment, which
the candid.
Oh,
A lot of cursing.
I know it's it was just so funny though. It was funny. It made me laugh. And I'm just like, man, this little segment is so funny. Especially with Paul Walter Hauser saying, "You're so emotional." I was like, of course he is. Yeah. I was like, bro, I don't really believe this whole little act at all. But like, I found it funny. I don't know.
It was cute. I mean, first of all, they didn't exactly tell you what set it was on. I mean, obviously, I guess it was as at the end of the last MLW show, or Fury Road, or ending. But they could have said on the set of Fantastic Four or something like that. That would have been fun, because who would have known? But yeah, they had a little fight. There was a lot of cursing, and then Paul London really wants none of Paul Walter Hauser. Paul Walter Hauser wants to stay friends and espouse his love, but he turned rather quickly. He's like, you fucking prick. But that happens in real lover spats. You go, fucking bitch, but you don't mean it. You mean she's a bitch because she doesn't like me right now. I wish she liked me. But yeah, this is a little funny and whatever. I don't know. This story is a story that's definitely happening and is definitely gonna continue to happen.
Yeah. Just a little funny segment. And now we come to the main event, because we pan back to the ring. This is still the Opera Cup. Austin Aries versus Mystico. And man, am I again so happy to see Austin Aries back in a wrestling ring, and see him wrestle. This was a really good match. um, Fast start. Austin Aries had most of the advantage. Um, Even with like a double axe handle to Mystico on the outside, some more like pins into the kick out. We get that springboard from Mystico, all this kind of stuff. I do want to mention that a Spanish fly was done in the match. You always have to have a Spanish fly in these matches or with any luchador. Huh?
Yeah, of course, it's the law.
Oh, yeah, it is. And then with that Spanish fly, we get a double down. If you guys know, I do not like double downs. That's one of my pet peeves in professional wrestling are double downs. However, because they did it right after the Spanish fly, good job. If it was anything else, no. And then two Death Valley drivers, two Mystical onto the hardest part of the ring apron. I was just like, damn, bro, like you're gonna take two of those. Armbar, transition into a last chancery. The poke in the eye, usually that's an Austin Aries, vintage Austin Aries. But Mystico decided to do it, which was really, really cool. Yeah, we get to wrap things up to have Mystico winning, going on to the finals. Mystico does his senton into the cross body and ends up winning. Unless that wasn't the finish, but
No, he did that like from he's doing them like not from the turnbuckle. He's doing them from like the ring like a foot to the left on that.
Yeah.
But then he moved Austin Aries to the other side of the ring and did like a splash.
Oh yeah.
But also like from the third rope, but not the top turnbuckle, which was a strange finisher. But finisher was Austin Aries still doing the sort of the angry podcaster or if RFK was yelling at you, in person kind of thing gimmick.
Oh God.
No one has ever said that Austin Aries can't wrestle, and he absolutely can wrestle. Good match, fun match. I also appreciate the Mystico did the eye poke first, and Mystico won. And our finalists for the Opera Cup are both CMLL talents. So again, very interesting stuff to watch. So the winner of the Opera Cup, unless they do something completely non-Opera Cup-ish, which they won't, is going to be from CMLL Wrestling. And and that's interesting to me.
It is. I would have liked it if it was like one MLW guy versus a CMML guy and they lay it all out there in the ring. But it is what it is. I'm not really upset about it. Maybe I am because Volador Jr. got like a really depressing kind of stupid win over Kojima when it could have been like a very epic battle. But it is what it is. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the review for MLW Symphony of Horrors. I still feel the show was lukewarm. The matches were okay. I still want to fantasy book and send Kwon over to New Japan to ruffle some feathers. But yeah, overall, I mean, it is what it is. November 20th, tickets are on sale currently right now for the other show in South Carolina. Basically, Day of the Dead in a sense. I'm sorry, I don't feel like turning on my Spanish right now. But yeah, over there, $15 ticket starts. They did announce a match, even though I think they've been announcing it. But Killer Cross will be in action taking on Matt Riddle, which may or may not be a first time ever. I don't know.
It's a weird matchup. Yes, I mean they sort of led you to believe that Hammerstone and Matt Riddle were going to be sort of paired off, which I imagine they will at some point. But it's interesting. I mean, you think that Riddle's going to win that match because he's the MLW guy, but Cross is an MLW history, so we'll see. Listen, it's definitely an interesting match. It's also something that if they really wanted to, they could probably take it around the indies, sort of how Ben Bishop and Matt Cardona have been fighting all over the country, that kind of thing. So, and
those are fun though.
They are fun. I like when they do stories in the indies and they continue it. I also listen. I don't know what's happening with this. I have no information, but I know that Cross has been working with the Righteous, so it would be kind of fun if the Righteous made an appearance in MLW again. I don't know what their budget is, period, let alone for any one particular show. But they're the kind of surprise that would be interesting, because I don't think if you advertised it would sell a lot more tickets or bring a lot more people to watch it. No offense to Dutch and Vincent, they know that I've been part of the Righteous since it was Horror Inc. One of my great disappointments was learning that Vincent didn't like Chuckles the Clown. Only a true fan remembers that Chuckles the Clown was ever part of this group. I don't know, but that would be a fun surprise for me. I don't know where it fits into this world, because Riddle doesn't really have two friends to back him up, unless Tom Lawler is healthy, and he brought back some of his West Coast destruction crew or wrecking crew, whatever they would call them.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like a lot of logistics and a lot of budgeting for MLW for a show that's already sort of loaded up.
Yeah. Well, Dose Evil, put yourself over. It has come to that time.
Thank you. Well, on the X, you can follow me at Dose_Evil. My podcast is called Garden of Thought. You'll generally get about 3 shows a week. And one is the one generally with Mr. Thomas and another wrestler. Occasionally it's me solo. Occasionally it's me with someone else. On the Wrestling Soups, I do the LFG review with Lufisto. That season's over, so we did all 15 episodes and a retrospective with Dr. Gina Puzin, who's a psychologist who sort of graded us and the contestants and the judges. And I also do the Evolve podcast that's on the Wrestling Soup and Friendos feed. Oh, yes, that's a separate feed, and we review Evolve. It's called Dose of Chocolate. And I do other stuff too. Aside from working with Marie, I do NXT PLE reviews with Drew Yari. So we did the Halloween Havoc review. That's on the Drew Yari Experience, which is also on the Wrestling Soup Network, and occasionally other things too. But I got a whole bunch of things. I've got a whole bunch of things queued up on Garden of Thought to keep you guys amused, interested, educated, and scared during the Halloween spooky season.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which, by the way, I'll put over the other podcast episode that you dropped today of you interviewing Mads Krüger, because I think that, I don't know, I just think that's like super cool. It's one of those things of like, it's one of those things that in my heart I'm like, oh shit, look at that. It's one of those.
New best friend unlocked.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Just because I was tempted to sort of like email him to tell him the same thing what I told him in the tweet, just to be just as a funny gag, because I think it's funny that people will email him and then like be like, hey, can you take a look at my resume or just some shit? And I'm like, wow, people actually do that. But it is what it is. But yeah, don't forget to listen to that brand new episode on the Garden of Thought. So I'm Marie Shadows. Follow me over at Twitter at Marie_Shadows, where I'm still ruffling feathers. And YouTube.com/Square Circle Podcast. Square Circle Podcast is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and Google, probably. On Spotify, you can leave comments as well. So don't forget to leave comments and interact with any polls. On YouTube, memberships are open if you want to get a membership. Head over to patreon.com/Marie Shadows for extra Marie Shadows content and just to follow me along. I have already told my 2 Discord communities that these servers are going to be shutting down on Wednesday. So if you are listening to this and you're part of the Discord community, head over to patreon.com/Marie Shadows. You can follow me for free. You don't even have to get a membership if you don't want to, but if you don't, you'll be missing out on the extra Marie Shadows content that I'll be putting up on there. So it's up to you. marieshadows.substack.com is still going on, where it's all wrestling and podcasting and stuff. Thank you to all of my people who are signed up there and also signed up to the subscription base of it, and my throne wish list. If you want to see more live streams, just more content from me generally, because I am sharing one laptop between me and Ravage, and Ravage does gaming, I do wrestling. So throne.com/Marie Shadows if you want to help me upgrade my equipment. Find me everywhere, find Dose everywhere. And we will be back November 20th to talk about the next MLW show. Hopefully, I will be healed by that time because I got to take out this damn wisdom tooth. So hopefully, man, I don't want to be on camera and like I'm still like, I don't know, swollen or whatever.
Chipmunked out?
What happened?
Chipmunked out?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't want to be chipmunked out, especially on one side because I got to get this side taken out. Man,
usually
being
a couple
an
of
adult.
bad days, but after that, it usually goes down.
Okay. I am nervous to have it done, but it needs to get out.
You're nervous. I'm so nervous. I haven't had it done. I was told in 1987 that I had 6 months to get my wisdom teeth out. They're all still there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. At least
more great medical advice. Follow me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment. We'll look at it. We'll read it. I'll probably respond to it. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. I guess we're out of here. I don't know.
Stay with my friends.